Welcome to the Affording Freedom podcast. It's a weekly
Yeah.
podcast that talks about personal finances and your behaviors. Our hope to serve you in such a way that you can experience all that life has to offer, free from debt and shame. I'm David,
And I'm Cade.
and today we're talking about us. We're talking about the
Yeah.
genesis of us,
Wow. That sounds dramatic.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's the
Feels
hope.
right.
Yeah,
It feels good. It feels good.
we're dramatic people
Yeah.
talking about who we are, how did we meet, and why we're doing this. So, thank you for joining us, and let's just jump right in. What do you say?
I love it.
Let's do it. We got through it. That's the scripted part. That's the
Yeah.
awkward part. I don't like it. You don't like it. But now
I
we're
hate
here.
it.
And
I
now
feel
we're
like
here.
also whenever I was listening to myself, whenever we were recording the intro the other day,
Uh
and I'm not Canadian, as you know, but I sounded Canadian. And I was like, oh, yeah, like I did like the kind of the inflection. I'm like, I don't say my name like that, and it was really strange.
And a boot with Cade. No, that's
Yeah.
not.
I'm
That's
like,
not Canadian either. I don't know what that
I don't know
was.
what. Yeah, we're not great at accents, but there was something. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I'm Kate. I'm like, I don't know what happened to my voice. Not.
Hey, hopefully,
If we have a Canadian listener, I'm sorry for you and you. This is just,
the,
you
the
know,
the the trailer will not make or break us.
yeah. Well,
We,
if it
we
does, that's tough. That's just really, it's really unfortunate. Because at the time of this recording,
uh-huh.
right, we've been doing our social media, we've been working on the blog, but I have some kind of cool news, but also some unfortunate news.
I'm
So,
pumped. I
are
don't know
you
what this
ready?
is. I'm excited. Yeah,
Yeah. So I created the Pinterest account today, right?
love it.
Going to share the
Yeah,
blogs, all that good stuff. And here's the bummer: is we have one follower. It's
and
exciting. There's two of us.
oh,
Yeah, we're batting 50% in house, right? So that's unfortunate. That hurts.
I didn't realize
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
realize
You
that
got
was
to
an
connect the dots.
obligation of the job was that I
Yeah.
have to have a Pinterest account.
We have to at least,
You know how
morally
many
support.
do you know how many
Mhm.
Instagram followers we have?
Oh, I would say a
0.
whopping zero.
We
Yeah.
have 0
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
I don't have an Instagram.
Mm-mm.
I don't even know if you do.
uh, Rachel, my wife, makes me have one. I don't know what's on there. I have,
Mm,
but she apparently I need to be tagged in things.
yeah,
But we're gonna
and
give it a go.
our Facebook
We're
account has reached 2 people.
Yeah. Well, that's 100%. That's
That's
internally. That feels good,
now
man.
we're
Wow.
batting 1,000. We're back.
Nice.
We're
What
back.
else do you want from us?
I
Like this is
know.
so. This is just primo.
That's good marketing. Hey, listen, if you
Mhm.
guys wanna talk personal finance, we're the guys.
Yeah.
'Cause, man,
Just
do we know how to market?
internally,
Yeah,
we market ourselves just internally. Like
this
that's
is
it.
so
Like
good.
you and I know what we're doing, so it's good stuff.
This is great stuff.
Oh
Cade,
man.
Cade, on a real note,
Mhm.
why should people listen to us talk about personal finance? Tell us a little bit about your history. Who's Cade? What makes you
Let's peel
you?
back the onion.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, yeah, man. It feels it
Mm,
feels kind of cool because this is one of the first things that I've done. Like that like I've been on a quest for value, right?
mm,
Like I've just been on this search for not wanting to just make money but provide value.
yeah.
And I think throughout my professional career, everything I've done if I'm being honest, is like, oh, I can make $1 here, so let's do that. Is kind
Yeah.
of that was
That
like
makes sense.
if
That
it
make
makes
yeah.
money, then it's like, I've had had success, had failures. I love like the Winston Churchill quote that wasn't it him that was like success is going from failure to failure without any lack of enthusiasm.
Wow. I
I
don't
think
know,
that's
but it's
Winston Churchill,
brilliant.
but I love it.
Own
I
it.
love it. Yeah,
It's Winston now.
yeah. Hence, so enthusiastic. It's Winston now. If it's not Winston, you're welcome, Winston, for that little piece of wisdom. No, but yeah, had run and worked with a couple hedge funds, done software development, failed in some things, done well in others, and
Mm,
again on this journey for just value, man, and hopefully providing someone that hope. And we'll kind of get into the mission statement a little bit more, but yeah. So David,
dang, that's
let's
good.
let's tell us about tell everybody about you. How's
Dude,
how's my David?
dude, when we were when we were thinking about this, when we
Mm,
were talking about, hey, the first episode, it's gonna be like bios.
yeah.
I went back to childhood. I was like, well, I was born in upstate New York.
Oh, please. No, that's David. The people
You,
need to
you,
know.
you, you just went like professional career. This is how we ended up here,
No,
which makes a
no,
ton of sense. I was
no, no.
thinking I was a wee lad.
9 pound, six
Yeah,
ounce baby David.
I was born in a golden
What?
fleece,
Yeah. What day were you? What day were you born? That's
July
specific. No,
13th.
no, no. I know that, but what day of the week
Honestly, I think
in
it
the
was
year of our Lord? Like,
AD 91.
yeah.
Oh
No big
man,
deal.
I think it was a Tuesday,
Mm,
which, I feel like
mhm.
there's probably a book written about how the day of the week you're born determines your success in life.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
probably out there
That's a
somewhere.
book. There's yeah.
There's got to be.
There's
If
gotta
you're a
be.
Friday baby, you
Yeah.
know
You know.
you're messed up. Like you're just
Wow. Wow. I was
yeah.
gonna say you've got it going for you. Like,
No,
sorry.
no.
Yeah.
Born
You think?
during a party, like your parents were missing out. You're messed up.
Oh
You're
yeah.
born.
FOMO instantaneously. That's tough.
Yeah. We made that up for anybody who might be thinking that that's a real
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. No.
Um,
No lack of enthusiasm, but it was.
that's a good failure then. Thank you, Winston. Um, well,
Yeah. Tell us
picking
about
up
David.
picking up on the working career. Graduated college 2013
Yep.
with a religion and philosophy.
Hmm.
So
Our holy man
I know
on
what you
here.
must be thinking. Why are you talking about personal finances?
Why are yeah? How did you
Yeah,
get here,
that's a
man?
great question.
How did we get here?
Oh, because I failed with enthusiasm. That is
It,
that is why.
enthusiasm, baby. That's
That is
key now.
why. So several years back, my wife and I moved from New York to Colorado, which is where Cade and I met. I was
Yeah.
working at a church.
Yeah.
Cade, like the good Christian boy he is, was
Mm,
going to this
mhm.
church.
Yeah.
He's-
I was attending. That's about the extent. Yeah. We'll talk religion another episode, I'm sure, down the line. But that'll.
and so you were a volunteer leader,
I
and
was.
I
Yeah.
I was leading that
Yeah.
that ministry, and
Yeah.
so
You
that's
were
how we met.
leading
That's
the
how we met.
leaders. Yeah.
Yeah, and he and I just struck up a friendship, and
Not after. Man, I pursued you, baby boy. Don't you lie. Don't you put. Don't you let the people just think it was a mutual. I hunted you down. It's what I did. Oh man.
I wooed Cade
Oh, stop.
into my
Stop it
orbit.
right now.
Well, tell the people why. Why did you pursue me, Cade? It wasn't. It
Oh,
wasn't because of my characteristics,
well, I mean,
was it?
well,
No, it was.
you know, who's to say? Who's to say it wasn't both?
It
You
was.
know?
I had a wife. He had a wife, and
Yeah,
Cade just thought, wow.
yeah. My wife was like, we need couple friends, and I'm like, met David. I like David. I have no idea who his wife is at this point, but I'm like, you know what? He has a wife. That meets the criteria. Let's do this. Yeah,
We're there.
exactly. Yeah,
We're
stars
there.
aligned right there. And then,
And,
you
and
know,
then and then a
a
few years.
pizza later, and then we're here now.
Was that our first date? Was it
It was our
pizza?
first date. Yeah, yeah. Like me and you dated, and we left our wives. Like that
Is that
was,
a true thing?
yeah, it was the pizza place right around the corner. Remember from the church?
You and
Yeah.
I one on one?
No, 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 no. It was the four
No.
of it. It was us four.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha,
That
gotcha.
was a bit
Yeah.
of humor that just missed.
I'm
So
so
thanks for
sorry
bringing it up. Yeah,
because I
appreciate it.
believed you.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, that's
It
okay.
was so compelling. It
Yeah.
was good. So a few years into this ministry,
Yeah.
life got super chaotic for me,
Yep.
and I ended up stepping down from this ministry. Stepped down from. I was also getting my master's degree at that time. Stepped down and away from that, and during that time, just made some super bad
Life's hard.
financial.
Can we just be honest? Life is hard.
Made
Like,
some really bad financial decisions, and I do want to make that clear that that was on me. I pulled my wife into some of these bad decisions with me. And now we are on to the road to redemption. And
It's
so
big time.
what brings me into talking about personal finances is this road to redemption, this idea that there's always hope, there's always a way forward. No matter how many bad decisions you've made, we can always get out of it. And so this is the journey we're going to go on. This is like the Affording Freedom blog, podcast, multimedia empire, prestige
Conglomerate. Yeah,
worldwide
prestige worldwide. Yep. Yep.
is this journey of learning personal finances, but not just the budgeting aspect of it, right? The behavioral, why do we make these decisions? How can we make good decisions going forward? And what is the criteria for making good decisions? Because it's not just making money and getting out of debt, but it's also an identity thing as well. So we'll
For
jump
sure.
more into that as well. But
Yeah.
that's why I'm here.
No, I love it. Yeah. One of the central themes that we're probably going to hit on almost all the time is finances is 80% behavioral, 20% knowledge,
It's good.
right? And it's like you can give all the head knowledge in the world, but if you don't understand why you're doing the things that you're doing, it doesn't make sense.
You're
So
going to keep making the same
yeah,
mistakes.
for sure. And I get, yeah, and the message of hope, that's kind of the
Yeah.
quest for value that I was wanting to hit at.
Mm.
And it's just the whole idea of also your value is just always inexplicably, at least correlated with your financial stability,
Yeah.
right? And it's
Right.
just, it
That's
shouldn't be,
totally true.
but it is. Like
Yeah.
it just bleeds in. It's impossible to separate that, that version of yourself. Like your finances bleed into everything. And
Yeah.
so
There's a
it's hard.
both and effect, right? Like if I'm in a poor financial decision, that's going to take away from that's going to diminish my personality and who I am as a person. But
For
also,
sure.
if I'm not working on myself and growing personally, that's going to diminish my finances, right?
100%.
Right. Like it's
Yeah.
that both and kind of relationship.
Yeah.
And
I love it.
so we want to offer this platform as a way to serve people, right? Like this isn't
100%.
it's not just my journey, but this is a way for us to offer a service to people who are not financially stable, who maybe stereotypically are not financially stable. The single
Yeah.
moms, maybe people getting out of prison or no college degree or whatever it might be.
Well,
We want
I
to,
think that, yeah, the whole idea is like, um, there's this idea that finances, it's like either financial planning is for the wealthy people. So again, the rich get richer. And then the poor get poorer. But if you're on the poor side of things, the marketing and the materials that you get are get rich quick. It's
Mhm.
bet the farm all,
yeah,
we're putting everything on red.
for
Here we
sure.
go.
And I've done that so many times.
Yeah.
I've been suckered in. Yeah, I've started watching that YouTube video, and
Mhm.
like the first 5 seconds, it's like, look at me in my cool car, and I'm like, okay, I'm looking,
Yeah.
and it's like,
Car?
you too, look at me, look at my office today, and it's like the beautiful ocean. I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
what is it? What do they do? How can I
Right.
do that? Trade options, and I'm like, I'm in, I'm
Yeah.
doing it, and
For
then
sure.
and
Bet the
then
farm.
bet the farm.
Yeah, and I think the whole idea of that is it just that there's people get upset with boring, but I think I love like principled lives and even investing boring
Mm,
is great. Like I think my favorite example, like Warren Buffett, who's like I'm probably going to mention him more than people would care to like to know, but I love Warren Buffett, right?
big fan,
And
big fan.
he's the man, and he missed the .com boom. Like he
What an imbecile! What a
Yeah, no,
yeah,
but seriously, like, and he
what a
completely
chump.
missed it. And I mean, statistically, he's the best investor to live.
Mhm.
Like he's the king of value investing, and he invests boring, like just
Mm,
simple, consistent, day to day. He knows, like he just knows who he is, and he invests in what he knows. And again, I love the idea that if you know who you are, you know what to do. And so
mhm.
I think that's just like that's just
That's
so cool.
huge. That's
Yeah,
huge. Yeah,
yeah, it
right.
really is.
We're not just like making a budget and then saying stick to it, and if you fail to stick to it, well then you're screwed. This is like make
Yeah.
a budget, and if you don't stick to it, let's talk about it. Like what
Well,
decisions did we make, and then let's process the shame that
for
inevitably
sure.
comes with that sense of failure. Like
Well,
to tie it back to that Winston, maybe not Winston Churchill quote. Let's
maybe
let's
not. Who's to say?
let's do it with some sense of enthusiasm, right?
Yeah.
Let's really get into this for some actual life change and being the person that you want to become.
Well, yeah, and then even just the problem, and I know next week,
Mm.
just a little. Can I tease our audience just a
How dare
hair?
you? How dare you?
Just a well, okay, no, then we're gonna leave it. We're gonna leave the tease. We're gonna leave
No,
the
do
tease.
it.
No,
Bring it in. Bring it in.
nope, you've already,
Oh man, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah, audience,
That's on me.
yeah, that's David. But this idea that outcome, we kind of have goals that are outcome oriented,
Mm.
right? And I think that again, hitting on the value is
Yes.
typically we look to you know outward things as like a checkbox. So like once I hit this dollar stone, then I have the value internally. But things don't work that way. It's
Hmm.
kind of as silly as saying, if I'm healthy and I work out yesterday,
Yeah.
then I'm like, well, I'm actually healthy, and then it stopped. I never have to do anything to become healthy again.
Yeah.
That just doesn't make any sense because healthy requires consistency,
Hmm.
and it's an identity. It's like it's just a
Mm.
constant, and that's really what freedom,
Yeah.
in and of its sense, is. It's an identity. It's not just a something you can check off the box. It's who you are and walking in that and owning that,
Yeah.
right?
And yeah, and who you want to be. It's the visual that was so helpful for me when we were talking about doing all of this is like when you think of like New Year's resolutions, it's like
Yeah, for
you
sure.
you make the goal and it's this weight behind you and you're just trying to like drag it and uh it's just toilsome and eventually quickly usually
Yep.
you cut it off and you stop doing it
Well,
because
yeah,
it's
because
it's a burden.
and again, you're kind of I'm the word is kind of I can't find it right now, but essentially your willpower
Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
is finite.
Yes. Yes.
Like it's you only have no matter how awesome you are, your willpower is only so much. Like it will run out.
Hmm.
So if you're having to pull your along all these things rather than being pushed towards them,
Yeah.
it won't work. And
So
yeah, shortcuts don't work, unfortunately.
yeah. So instead of having these goals that are weighing you down behind you, what we what we focus on are the values that are propelling you, and
Yeah.
then we are pushed towards the goals instead of the goals weighing us down.
Yeah. I think
Is
this
it?
is a good time to segue
Come
probably
on.
to like the mission statement and really
Hmm.
unpack that.
Let's talk about it.
David, go ahead and give it to the people.
Give you let me please the masses. All right, here's our mission. It's for you to serve and help others elevate themselves so we can experience all that life has to offer free of chains and condemnation. There's a lot packed into that.
Yeah. And I don't want this to sound cheesy because I know that instantly whenever I hear a mission statement from people, I'm like, all right, stop. Go ahead and just,
Fake.
yeah,
Yeah.
sit down. Sit
Yeah.
down.
Making it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Where do I sign? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on to your pocketbooks, is the instant thing that I think of whenever I hear a mission statement. But I think if we can unpack that a little bit, though, the
Let's.
first, it's very intentional. It's not an accident. I love. Excuse me, I had a little water go down the wrong pipe. That was for those of you on YouTube. Again, we have. Do we have a? I didn't subscribe to our YouTube channel. Have you
Oh,
subscribed?
not yet.
I think, yeah,
I
we're
know.
doing it. We're doing it live.
Well, well, part of this is we haven't, actually launched yet. So that we're recording this pre-launch.
Pre-launch.
So that's why we're not
Yeah,
just like absolutely terrible.
guys, we're enthusiastic though. Listen to that. That's crucial.
Thank God for
Enthusiastic.
Winston.
Thank God for Winston.
Where would we be
Man,
without?
where would we be? Oh my gosh. But like the first part of this is to serve,
Hmm.
right? And I think that's the whole idea of I have a like my best friend since childhood, Cody Troutman. He does this podcast called the Cody Trout Pod. Right?
Shout
If
out,
you
shout
Yeah,
out,
shout out,
shout out
shout
to
out.
codes.
Yeah, real funny. He's uh, you know just an awesome guy. Love the guy, and he does this. Like he was kind of going through the question of why do a podcast,
Hmm.
right? And he was like, I think
Yeah.
that's an important thing to answer. And we've kind of talked about this type of stuff. And his whole thing, he basically summarized it to Jimmy Valvano, like the Jimmy V Foundation, famous head coach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, passed away from cancer. Awesome, like just super. Like you've heard his speech, even if you didn't know it was
Okay.
him. But basically, the idea was if you laugh, think, and cry, you've had a full, complete day. If you could do
Boom.
all those things in a day, and
Yeah.
anything that makes you laugh, think, or cry is worthwhile. And I love that. I thought that was such a noble goal. And I think to serve, I think everything that we do either wants to make you laugh, think, or cry. Probably not cry. Like I don't think
Potentially
I
breakthrough happens through a lot
breakthrough.
of tears.
Yeah,
You know,
it does for sure.
that's probably the least of those
Yeah,
three. Yeah.
yeah. If we're making you cry too much, let us know,
Yeah.
because that's unfortunate. I told my wife was pretty rude because she's like, David has the voice of a podcaster, and you have the face of a podcaster. So
Oh my
together, you know,
Get
mwah.
roasted.
Yeah.
Get
And I'm like,
roasted.
thank you. That means a lot. So she's
Shout out to Rachel.
shout out to Rachel.
That was great.
She's
That
wonderful.
was great.
Feels good. Yeah. Confidence was at an all-time high for that one. So that one felt good.
But you're enthusiastic. That's
Yeah, it's crucial. Anyway, we're getting off topic, just marginally.
oh man,
Marginally.
I'm dying. That was so good. That was so good.
But
Whew. We're serving.
serve.
We're serving the people. Yes.
no, yeah, and I think that's so important that it's first. Because
Yeah.
I think the whole idea, especially for me, is I want anyone. Finances can make you feel hopeless,
Mhm.
and there's not a good situation for you, and like life throws punches at you all the time.
Yeah.
But I think if we can just take off a burden, help heal, at least make you curious, not feel down in the
Yeah.
dumps like life will inevitably will throw at you.
Yeah.
Man, that would just, if we do that for one person, then this was
Yeah.
a wild success in my eyes. Right?
I absolutely love the laugh, think, or cry. Like
Yeah, it's
any
so cool, so
any
good, right?
any content we put out, whether that's on
Yeah,
the blog, whether this
yeah,
is the podcast, whatever videos we do put out,
yeah,
like laugh, think, cry. If you're doing any of those things about your personal finances, like that's great. We're
right,
probably headed in the right direction, even if it's a hard realization or
for sure.
it's a goofy tangent, whatever it is. Like
Yeah,
it's in the right direction. So
yeah,
I love it.
but free of chains and condemnation too, because like, man, guilt and shame, man,
Well,
especially with
hold on,
finances. What in the world,
dude. Let us go back because
Yeah,
you
let's just
jumped.
rewind the clock.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you jumped right to the end of the mission statement.
yeah,
I love it.
I was an eager beaver. I'm sorry. I saw
It's
it and I
why
was
we
like,
love you. It's why you're here. You pick things up, you put things down. You're an eager beaver. We love it. To elevate themselves. I love that piece of it because, like, laugh, think, cry. Like, that's how we're serving you. That's how we're
for
getting
sure.
you your attention. That's how we're getting you involved and engaged. But
Yeah,
the point is to elevate yourself, right? It's not
yeah,
something that we do for you. It's not
yeah,
something, this is like meant to empower people, give them confidence, give them boldness and
for
courage to
sure.
move forward in their personal finances and develop
Mm.
into becoming
Y'all hear
all
the preacher?
all
Yeah,
that
come
they
on. Can I get a yes and amen? That's it right there.
You're welcome. Now, what were you saying about condemnation? I'm much better at that. I'm just kidding.
No, no, that's so good too, because I think it's important that it does start with you,
Mm,
but doing it alone is not that you can't do it
come
alone. It's
on.
just harder. Like life is
Yeah.
better in community. Life is better like whenever you have someone just speaking into you, right?
Yeah. And I
And
would venture to say that it's not sustainable alone. Like maybe you can
no,
accomplish something, but like
yeah,
long term you can't. Like
for sure.
I would even say that. Yeah.
Well, and even what's the point without community,
Yeah.
right? And if you're not, it's I love it's very difficult to find a genuinely happy rich person.
Hmm.
It's a hard,
Yeah.
especially kind of background for me. Like yeah, I've done venture capital. I'm a double major in finance and accounting. I did all that kind of stuff, and I've done financial advising. And man, you would think that if your identity is not rooted
Hmm.
in something permanent and something that is kind of the external doesn't shake you, and finance is as great of a tool it is only a tool,
Yeah.
right? Like it
Oh, that's
can't.
so important. Yeah. Keep
Yeah,
going.
and
Keep going.
whenever you have that mixed up, it's like the amount of money that you make will not make you grounded if you don't have these principles first. It doesn't matter. And I think
Yeah.
that's one of the most shocking things is how many people live, beyond their means to impress people they don't even like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's so easy to do, especially when you're not intentional about it.
Yeah.
But again, no shame and no guilt, because it may be, like, we've all done stupid stuff. We all make mistakes continuously,
Yeah.
and nothing requires perfection. I even love the definition of consistency. Did I tell you about this? This was a little article I was writing, and I'm like, man, I loved
No.
that consistency has a time duration involved with it.
A
Okay.
duration? Like
Yeah. So you can't be consistent once. I
well,
cannot,
yeah,
like,
that adds up.
so there has to be time involved.
Okay, so when you say time duration, I was thinking like there's actually a limit on the other end of it.
Mm.
You,
No, well,
okay,
but kind of, there has to be a range
okay,
to be consistent with something, because how else are you, right? So,
okay.
like, if I brush my teeth once, I'm not consistent brushing my teeth. If I brush my teeth from a year, 360 times out of the year, I am consistent. But if I take it 10 years back, I'm not. So consistency has,
Oh,
like,
interesting.
there has to be like, what's your range in which you're evaluating consistency,
That is interesting
right?
to really think that out, because you would think at some point your consistency, you don't label it as consistency anymore, though it still fits the definition. You
For
relabel
sure.
it into like, oh, that's just a character trait. That's just who you
It
are.
becomes identity. It becomes identity always, right?
Hot dang.
And hot day. Those of you on YouTube, you just got a treat right there. That was it. Oh my gosh. But yeah, but also another way you can think about it, if it has a time duration associated with it,
Uh-huh.
then failure is built in.
Mm,
Like, it actually, like, because nothing required, like, there's actually
mm.
built-in elements to fail, because consistency is not perfection in any way, shape, or form. And because there's a time
Interesting.
duration, it's just about doing the best that you can today. And I love
Interesting.
that, because I can be consistency today. So it's, again, I love that idea of, and I think that's what this is about. Like, this podcast, Affording Freedom, is about just getting better today, elevating yourself
Yeah.
today,
Yeah.
serving someone else today. And I think that's just so cool.
Yeah. I think at now we can jump into the free of chains and condemnation, because you hit
Yeah.
on like that's what affording freedom is all about. And I love the name affording freedom, because it's the idea,
Yeah.
well, everybody can afford it, right? It's
100%.
because it's
Yeah,
more your freedom as an identity, not just your financial status or lack thereof.
for sure.
You can be like me, swimming over your eyeballs in student loan debt, and still afford freedom in certain ways, because you can still live out your identity in that way, which is why we free of chains and condemnation. We're all going to mess up.
For
We're
sure.
all going to make mistakes.
Yep.
We're all going to mess up the budget, make bad
Yep.
investments. We didn't start our retirements early enough. We made a
Yeah.
bad real estate deal, whatever it is.
Yeah.
There's
And
no reason why condemnation needs to prevent us from moving forward and living a free life.
Yeah. It's so good. I mean, that's it. Like, that right there is
All right, we're done.
we've done it.
Bye. No,
See
I'm
you guys
just
later. It's just so good. It's so good, David. Oh, I need a sip of water. Hold on. And these
Whoa,
camelbacks were
what
not
a treat.
sponsored, but what a treat. What an absolute treat.
Shout out Camelback. Do we want a sponsor?
Yeah.
Let's get a sponsor.
Let's get a sponsor, Camelback. Delicious. So good.
So convenient,
Yeah.
so reliable, so dare I say consistent in the way.
Consistent. Oh, so good. Not every time. It's so good.
Oh man, that's good. Hey, why don't you give us a little preview? What's
A little
next
next week, a little razzle dazzle.
Oh man.
Oh,
That's so
yeah.
good. Come on.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Okay, we're gonna have a slight segue here, because David and I were also talking. We're gonna bring it up.
Do it.
Is
I'm in.
we
here.
wanted a little spice to the podcast, right? We wanted a little razzle dazzle,
Hmm.
as you might say.
A little 1-2. How you doing?
But the problem is what does it say about David that he calls me the dazzle, and and he himself is the razzle? You
This
know?
honestly, at some point, sounds like a good Instagram vote. Like how
Yeah.
that you can do like
Who's
little quizzes.
yeah.
Who's the razzle? Who's the dazzle?
Right now, who's bringing the razzle and dazzle? That's what I want to know, because I don't know. Like, what does it say about one of us that we can-
Anytime The reason I don't want to be the dazzle, and I'm just gonna
Yeah,
I'm just
no, I
gonna
love
put all
it.
my cards on the table here,
Mm-hmm.
is
Mm-hmm.
because when I hear the word dazzle, I
Mm-hmm.
think bedazzled. I think
Mm.
I think
Well, that
sparkly
fits me.
jeans.
Yeah, I have them. That's what I wear. That makes sense. I'm there.
and
I
and
think I have everything bedazzled,
I
like
don't
all
know
of
what it is about bedazzling
them.
that is so repulsive to me that I'm just like,
Yeah.
that can't be. If
We
I'm
worked through it though. Like
if I'm
me and
living through my true
you.
self,
Yeah.
if I'm experiencing life as best as I can,
Yeah.
I simply cannot settle on being the dazzle.
Yeah.
I
I'm
must
okay being
be
dazzled. Like
I
I'm
must
okay. Like you
I
must be the
must be the
razzle.
razzle.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh,
And
okay.
yeah,
Oh,
well, similar to shake and bake. Who's the shake? Who's the bake?
yeah. Yeah.
Who
I
knows?
mean, I feel like baking's better. That one's, you know, because you
You
can
want to be the
shake it all
bake?
you. Well, I feel like everybody wants to be the bake. Like everybody, like if who in their right mind wants to be the shake? Like, let's be real. That's just
You can shake it
listen. I know we're
all you'd
free of
like.
chains and condemnation, but if you want to be the shake, just go ahead and get out right now. That's what
We're drawing a
I.
line in the
That's where
sand.
that's our line in the sand, right? That is. That's it.
That's
Oh my gosh.
obnoxious. Whew.
Yeah, it's just frankly, yeah. Who do you think you are wanting to shake? Just go ahead and simmer
Who do
down.
you think? You think you're Winston? Get out
Yeah,
of here!
just
You're not.
stop. Go ahead and stop.
Oh man,
uh,
Cade, what do we talk about next week?
yeah. So next week we're gonna go ahead and talk about what we mean by freedom because it's not as straightforward. We kind
Mm,
of hinted on it,
yeah,
but like, what does affording freedom mean? How it's more than just freedom is not necessarily something that you check off a list, but it's who you are.
yeah.
And we're gonna kind of dive into um, that whole topic, if you
What
will.
is identity? What is
Yeah.
freedom? What is
Yeah.
freedom in your identity?
Mm.
Mm,
Mm. Yeah.
mm.